wants you to be scared.
You and your
right?
government.
The government wants everybody to be scared to speak out. You know, they count on it. There's nothing to be scared of.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free. What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders.
But first, the severe flooding here in the Northeast as more rain continues to fall today. NBC's Michelle Kaczynski, I guess she's in the canoe, is in Wayne, New Jersey this morning.
Hey,
Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, obviously we're getting a nice break from the rain, but not the flooding. This is essentially now a part of the Passaic River in this neighborhood. It rushed in yesterday through the streets. And it's really tough to control a canoe or a boat when you're out in it. It's much deeper back there because this is really...
Actually, Michelle, I'll take it. Is there some kind of severe drop-off there between the foreground? We'll go back. We saw these guys a second ago, Michelle, walking. Are these holy men walking on top of water? What's going on here?
Why walk when you can ride, you guys? When you have a ride like this, why would you want to walk?
Have you run ashore yet?
Well, they wouldn't let me go back into the deep water because they were afraid I would just drift out of here.
Strange piece of video there, Michelle.
Is your oar hitting ground, Michelle?
Of course not.
Okay.
All right,
It's
Michelle.
as smooth as silk.
Michelle, thank you very much. That's Michelle Kaczynski in New Jersey for us this morning.
The best laid plans of mice and men. Anyway.
Politicians. Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we. Teachers.
Well, then get away from the door, nigga. And I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
The school district says that is not what they trained English teacher Paul Dawson to do.
He tried to say I said it, and I didn't say it, and no one else in the class knows that I said it because I didn't.
Lecturers.
Now, you know, we're under the blood of Jesus, so we can't shoot and stone people like we used to. All we have to do is repent, and God will forgive us and take us where we need to be. But I tell you, man, if it wasn't for the blood, there'd be a whole lot of us being stoned and being in hell right now, but over the tide. But for the blood of Jesus, we'd be doomed. I mean, I thought about when we first built the dome, I wanted to put some of those little moving bars and give everybody a little card. And they stick it in a little computer slot. And if they were tithing, beautiful music would go off. And, you know, welcome, welcome, welcome to the World Dome. But if they were non-tithers, the bar would lock up.
Access denied.
The red and blue lights would start going, the siren would go off, and a voice would go throughout the entire dome. Crook, 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 crook. Security would go and apprehend them, and once we got them all together, we'd line them up in the front and pass out Uzis by the ushers. We'd point our Uzis right at all those non-tithing members because we want God to come to church. And at the count of 3 Jesuses, we'd shoot them all dead. And then we'd take them out the side door there, have a big hole, bury them, and go ahead and have church and have the anointing. Aren't you glad we're under the blood of Jesus? Because if we were not under the blood of Jesus, I would certainly try it. Folks, this is a serious thing.
We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air. That's the reason.
Let me ask you, is a government worth preserving when it lies to the people. You're trying to convince us. It's become a dangerous country, sir, when you cannot trust anyone anymore, when you cannot tell the truth. Let justice be done, though the heavens fall.
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
You've changed. Well, of course I've changed. My eyes have opened. And once they're open, believe me, what used to look normal seems insane, and now king. Don't you think this has something to do with that? Can't you see?
I don't want to see, goddammit. I'm tired. I've had enough. I just want to raise our children and live a normal life. I want my life back.
So do I, goddammit. I had a life too, you know. You just can't bury your head in the sand like some goddamn ostrich, Liz. It's not about our well-being, all right? It's not about our 2 cars and our TVs and your kitchen. It's about our kids growing up in a shit old lives, and I'm angry about it. And my life is fucked because of it. And if you can see it that way, Liz, you see that your life is fucked too.
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
We feel it's a betrayal. 42,000 people have been killed, and these weapons that our own government facilitated to these violent criminals in Mexico, 200 plus people we know have been killed by them. So there's responsibility for that. 200 plus. And we also now have our hero in the Border Patrol, as you know, Agent Brian Terry, killed on American soil. 3 guns have been found at the murder scene. All 3 of them were connected to this program. And so for us, I'm fearful, not just my deputies, other officers, citizens in America, that we're going to be facing the barrels of guns that have been put in the hands of the most violent criminals in North America. And who's going to be held accountable?
I want to read something that you said, or quoted as saying, if somebody gives a gun to somebody knowing they're going to commit murder, guess what we call them? We call them accomplices. Do you think the ATF have been accomplices to murder?
Absolutely.
So you're saying what they were doing was criminal?
Absolutely. Not just these individual agents, but people up the chain of command who have made the decision. The U.S. Attorney for Arizona just resigned. And this is a big deal. Now it's one step away from Eric Holder. This is his Department of Justice, and there are people who have lost their lives. We have broken countless treaties with our neighbor Mexico, and we have a hand and responsibility in this violence that has come to the United States. But more importantly, Mexico is our partner. They're not our enemy, and we facilitated guns into the cartels that have worked to topple the Mexican government.
From a law enforcement standpoint, I mean, did this operation make any sense at all?
It doesn't. Where it came from is this concept when we allow drugs or cash or sometimes a criminal walk. We may watch a crime in progress, and where we can take lawful action, we allow that criminal to go in an effort to watch its spiderweb and to see how many people we can catch. They use the same concept with weapons, and this is pure insanity. It's never been done before to give weapons like this, and their idea was to track the weapons. There was no tracking mechanism. Now all these guns are nowhere to be found, and for years this will haunt the conscience of America rightly.
Operation Fast and Furious appears to have been a deeply flawed effort to respond to these very challenges. As we work to avoid future losses and further mistakes, the American people deserve better. It is time for a new dialogue about these important issues, one that is respectful, responsible, and factual. One critical first step should be for Congress to provide ATF with the tools and the authorities that it needs. Now, unfortunately, earlier this year, the majority of House members voted to keep law enforcement in the dark when individuals purchased multiple semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, and long guns, like AK-47s in gun shops in 4 southwest border states.
The department creates a situation in which weapons go south across the border in the hundreds, if not the thousands, and then uses evidence of the fact that that occurred to support their effort to try and extend the reach of the law.
And I say this with all due respect. Take a step back and think about the implications of what you're saying, is that the Justice Department came up with a flawed program in order to justify a regulation. Operation Fast and Furious appears to have been a deeply flawed effort to respond to these very challenges. As we work to avoid future losses and further mistakes.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? Yeah, my name is Leland. I'm broadcasting from Las Vegas, Nevada. And my broadcast today, I'm focusing on the situation in Chicago, man. I'm from Chicago, born and raised there. I ran those streets in Chicago and changed my life. But I want to kind of make people aware of some things that you don't know, because you've never really been out there, then you wouldn't know it. And it's going to be hard to believe, but myself, for a fact, and several others that I ran with know this to be the truth. Growing up in Chicago in the early 90s, this same situation was happening. I've been in Chicago where a person came into my house and knocked on the door to come and get me early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and said, come with me, man. It's a crate of guns in the alley. And I got up, ran out there, and sure enough, there was a crate of guns. And during that time when we in it, you're not thinking about where did the guns just come from. You never think about that type of stuff, like where did the guns come from and why are they here? But now that I'm older, I can kind of tell you that it's a diabolical plot. Nothing is stopped. The guns are still there. The guns are still being placed in these different strategic communities. It's a plan. It's not out in Bridgeview. It's not out in, Westmount. They're putting it in the hundreds for sure. Yeah, they're putting it on 55th. They're putting it in Inglewood. 6:30 in the morning, while older people that's at work, you sleep. You're not outside. So, you got the streetwalkers and the people that's out, they hustling and they out all types of day. And yeah, they're the ones that's going to run across them. And who would go and tell the police? I never went to go tell the police when we found some guns. That don't even make sense. Why would you go tell the police?
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
We feel it's a betrayal. 42,000 people have been killed, and these weapons that our own government facilitated to these violent criminals in Mexico, 200 plus people we know have been killed by them. So there's responsibility for that. 200 plus.
So people are wondering why so much violence. Think about it. You think about this. Okay, the police are locking people up constantly in Chicago every single day. They're taking guns off the street every single day, every day. So how is it that all of these guns just keep appearing? Where are all the guns coming from? Nobody's going to the gun store buying these guns. So where are all these guns?
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
We feel it's a betrayal. 42,000 people have been killed, and these weapons that our own government facilitated to these violent criminals in Mexico, 200 plus people we know have been killed by them. So there's responsibility for that. 200 plus.
Now, this is another part that you don't know. I was so used to having exotic guns that I thought that was the norm. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying far as, I don't know if are you familiar with guns, but a fully automatic handgun is almost impossible to get. You know what I'm saying? A fully automatic assault rifle, that's not common. It may sound common, but that's not common. A Uzi that's fully automatic, that's not common. So I was so used to having everything in the area that I knew of was fully. It shot fully automatic, fully. So me being 17 and 18 and in my 20s, I was so naive that I believed that's how all guns was. I seen so many different exotic guns on the street running around in different areas with the guys just running around. I thought that was the norm. So now I'm an older gentleman. I'm out here, you know, I switched my life around. I'm living right, you know. So now I cleared my name up and got my record sealed. And I'm going to the gun shop and I'm going to the shooting range, shooting like I'm supposed to. And I go into gun stores and I'm asking for certain guns and they looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I made that gun up. These are guns that I've seen several times in different areas that the gun store is saying, how would that be on the street? That's something that you would have to get specialized or customized. You see what I'm saying? But these guns are on the streets of Chicago.
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
We feel it's a betrayal. 42,000 people have been killed, and these weapons that our own government facilitated to these violent criminals in Mexico, 200 plus people we know have been killed by them. So there's responsibility for that. 200 plus.
And my point to you is, yeah, we can't try to make an excuse for the kids out there shooting, and it ain't all kids, but we can't make an excuse. But I want you to look at the bigger picture. Where are they getting the guns from? It's not one or two areas. It's not one or two areas. It's everywhere. In the urban community is what I'm telling you. They're not dropping them out there in Hillcrest. They're not gonna be out there. You check in them hundreds. You check on the low end. You check in the heart of the city, in the inner city. That's where they're dropping all the guns at. That's where all the killings is happening at. That's why a lot of innocent people are getting shot, stuff like that. Because of these guns. They got guns that they can't control. They shooting these guns, letting off, man, 100 shots, man, in 30 seconds. These guns are not being bought. They don't have no gun license to buy these guns. So where are they getting the guns from? That's the question. I'm telling you right now. They've been dropping the guns off in crates for years. They've been doing it. I seen it twice in my lifetime. I seen it in 1990, and then I seen it again in 1999. I seen it with my own eyes. You can believe it or not, but that's the honest to God truth. I went out, I seen the guns in the crate myself, and they went out through the whole area. Everybody got this one, grab that one. Let me get that one. I grabbed it. Everybody got them. And that's what they keep doing. That's how the guns keep getting on the streets. That's why the wars don't stop. You see what I'm saying? That's the part that people got to focus on. The gun control, how you going to control something if you study putting it down there? That's propaganda when they saying this gun control, or we lobbying for gun control. You're not trying to control nothing when you study putting guns out there.
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
We feel it's a betrayal. 42,000 people have been killed, and these weapons that our own government facilitated to these violent criminals in Mexico, 200 plus people we know have been killed by them. So there's responsibility for that. 200 plus.
They're giving it to them. Now they want to give them the guns so they can catch them with the guns. Either they're going to kill somebody with the gun, then they get to lock them up, or they catch them with the gun and they get to lock them up. Either way, it's lose, 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 lose. You see what I'm saying? It's a business for them. It's a business. You know what I'm saying? It's like me wanting to sell a drug, but I got to get you hooked first. You know, it's a business for them. So the more people that they can catch with guns, or the more people that commit crimes with guns, they get to lock them up. To them, it's just a number. They don't care. They don't care who it is. But it's more of the African community that is, you know, we're the victims. And I hate that everything boils down to race and all of that. I'm not a racist, but the truth is the truth. And I'm just telling it how it is. You know what I'm saying? I go to Chicago all the time. But if I go out to Westmount, Illinois, where one of my good white friends live, and I go with him, it's a different community. It's a different community. Ain't nobody running around with no guns. Ain't nobody doing nothing. I go out there, I feel safe. As soon as I go where I grew up at, I'm not getting out the car without no gun, because I don't trust nobody, because everybody around here got a gun. Everybody got a gun. You hear that part? That's the part that matters. Everybody got a gun, from the 14-year-old on up. Everybody got one. They ain't even doing nothing with it. They just got one. Well, how do everybody got all these guns? Where they come from?
The federal government has essentially been arming these cartels. What goes through your mind?
The guns are being deliberately placed, strategically placed in certain communities to target certain individuals. Please pay attention. Please research it. Check it out. Ask some of the OGs who've been around, and they'll tell you the same thing, that I'm not lying. I'm just willing to expose it. I'm trying to tell you the truth. It's the truth. They deliberately placing guns in Chicago in different areas. That's why so much shooting. The kids, as a little boy, when you grow up, you want to be a cowboy. You want a gun in your hand. As soon as you get it, you're going to emulate what you're seeing that people in front of you doing. So as soon as you get your hand on that gun, you got an extension clip, an extended clip. Where all these extended clips come from? Where? Where do you think they come from? Just think about it logically. Where do all these automatic weapons come from that's doing all this shooting? Where do they come from? But nobody can go. Chicago don't got no gun stores. Think about that. There is no gun store in the city limits of Chicago. So where are the guns coming from? How do you get bullets? How do you get bullets? Because they dropping off bullets with the guns. That's how. Where they get bullets from? Okay, if I got guns, say I got the guns, where am I gonna get bullets if it's not a gun store in the city of Chicago? That's what I'm trying to show y'all, man. Think about it logically. They don't want us to stop and think, because then if we stop and think, then we're gonna be on point. You understand what I'm saying? So hopefully this will wake somebody up. Maybe you'll snatch your son up or your nephew or your cousin, and you'll talk to him and you'll let them know it's a bigger picture than running around with these gangs, and that stuff ain't gonna last nowhere, you know. I was there, I came up out of it. Everybody won't be so lucky, but today I just want to drop one to grow on y'all, man, that there is a plot and there is a plan, and it's strategically against our communities. So this is signing off from Las Vegas. The truth. This is not no maybe. I think he know what he talking about. I'm telling you the truth. They dropping guns off, man. Deuces.
The more I go in looking for occupation, the more I find money. And I don't understand, so I'm going deeper and deeper. And then in 2010, I'm getting into a very interesting story about how the Israeli government and the Israeli army was selling a new tear gas canister into the government of police, the police and government of Singapore people. They're selling tear gas canister to fight their protest in their country. And during this time, I'm looking and I'm saying, Israel is selling tear gas canister? So I'm going into the website of the Minister of Security in Israel, and I find out they're saying that Israel just concluded a deal with the Singapore government of selling the best tear gas canister ever produced and tried by the Israeli army. And it mentioned there a few lines later that this tear gas canister was proven to be the most deadliest ever. And I'm going back and I'm saying, wait, try the tear gas canister. Who would be agreed to be tried? And then I understand. They're trying the weapons every day. Not in labs, down there on the field. They're trying their weapons. I was trying their weapons in Bil'in, in Yalin, in Kfar Kadum, in Abi Salah, in Bethlehem, in Hebron. El Halil, South Marchevon, in East Jerusalem. We're trying the weapons every day, and then we're selling it outside. And I couldn't believe the things that I'm seeing, so I'm going deeper and deeper. And then I realized that, you remember this guy, the young guys that threw stones in the beginning of the protest? They were not Palestinians. They were actually an undercover unit of the Israeli army, looking like me, Arab Jews, disguising as Palestinian inside these villages, starting a riot, starting something, so the Israeli army will have a good excuse to start shooting the place up and testing the weapons. And the more I go, the more I can understand, is this for real? How long is it going through? How much money are we making? And I'm going in, and then I discovered in the last 40 years, and this is a very, very partial list, this is the dictatorships and regime that the Israeli government and the Israeli army is trading weapons with, trading knowledge with, trading technology, or training their soldier by themselves in those countries. In the last 40 years, we were involved in the worst dictatorships and regimes in the world. And we were making a killing out of it, literally. We're making so much money out of it. And then I understand. This is not an occupation. It's a laboratory. Sometimes as a soldier, I would infuse poison to Palestinians. Sometimes as a protester, I will run away with Palestinians and be in a lab rat. But all this time, we're trying weapons out and selling them out there. In the source of everything, it's not the religion, it's not the land, there's a lot of money. And I understand that I'm standing in the wrong place. And I'm moving to New York City from Jerusalem. It's a big change. And I'm standing in New York City, and the last 3 years, I'm researching the relationship between our army and your army, our government and your government, and all the money that flows in the middle. Now I'm gonna do a cut just for a second and do a different ending than usual. We're doing it in the last few last lectures, and I wanna try it now. 2.5 months ago, we were on the Maryland highway on our way to do this kind of lectures in Washington, D.C. And we were on our way, we crashed our car in the middle of the Maryland highway. When we were stuck in the middle of the highway, people were driving next to us, and we did something we don't really like to do. We called the police. And the police came very fast, very efficient. The Maryland officer police came and took us out of the highway. Tall car came and took my and another friend with our car to the lot. And I got a ride along with the Maryland officer police. And for 10 minutes, we're driving silently, and I have no idea it's gonna change my life, this ride. And we're driving quietly, and then the guy is looking at me, the officer of the Maryland police is looking at me and saying, "So, where are you from?" And I'm saying, "Oh, I'm from Israel. I'm from Israel." And the officer is saying, "Oh man, you guys are badasses. You know how to silence the one that opposes you. You know how to calm them down. Nobody disobey you. You guys are the best." And I'm saying, whoa. I don't think you really know a lot about the Israeli army, so, never mind. And he's saying, "Oh, no. I just came back from there." I'm saying, "What, as a tourist?" I'm saying, "No, with the Maryland police. We just came back from training with your military and your police." I'm saying, "What?" I'm saying, "Oh yeah, all of our police here in the US is going to a few weeks to Israel and trained with your army and your police." And I'm starting investigating more and more, getting more information out there. And then before I leave the house, before I leave the car, his car to the lot, I'm thinking, is there a chance Shlomo Efrati, my father, the head of investigation of the Jerusalem police? And the guy takes out his cell phone and flipping pictures. And he got a picture hugged with my dad in the middle of the night in Washington, D.C. And I'm just blown away. I'm going out of the car and I'm calling my dad in Jerusalem. And I'm saying, "Dad, what the hell?" And my dad is telling me, "Oh, come on, Irani, don't be naive. NYPD got an office in Tel Aviv, right? We got an office in New York, right? Come on, we're working together to protect you." And then I understand. It wasn't the first time, but that was my closure. For years, we're doing this kind of lectures, very different kind of lectures, and talking with communities here in the US, telling them that all they need to do is take care of their community and it's gonna be fine. Every one of us will take care of our community, but you should know that, what's going on in Palestine is a humanitarian crisis. And I'm going around and I'm telling them, I learned something growing up. All of us want to be on the right place at the right time when history is knocking on the door. And history is knocking right now, really loud in Palestine. And all of you need to be on the right side on this humanitarian case. But not this time. If you don't care about Palestinians after these lectures, I don't care. And if you don't care about us, Israelis, asking for your help to stop the apartheid regime in Israel, I'm fine with that also. But you guys should know, you are next in line. The next one who will die from a tear gas canister into his chest will be in Zuccotti Park, will be in Denver, will be in Oakland, in San Francisco. It is happening here already. It's happening to different people, to people of color, to immigrants in this country. It's already happening. You guys are next in line. The next one who will die out of brutality of the police will be one of your sons or your daughters in a protest. Because they're training together. Your police training with our army. Our army is training them how to take care of the enemy. Because Palestinians are our enemy. But when they're coming back, you are their enemy. All this time, when we are taking care of our communities, I was taking care of mine, and you were trying to take care of yours. The government, the police, they were organizing together, globally, to oppress us. We need to start organizing globally to resist them. And that starts in Palestine right now. Stopping the training there will stop it here.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations does this go out?
You've got to get mad.
67.
Say,
I know it goes to Louisville and Atlanta.
I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Why is America
not the greatest country in the world, Professor? That's my answer.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of our paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? Hey. And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite?